Hello, my name is Jose Iriondo, and I'm going to show you a new web tool to find European priority crow-wild relatives in the Natura 2000 network. As you know, Natura 2000 is a network of protected areas in Europe established as an implementation of the Habitats Directive. It is presently the largest network of protected areas in the world. In the context of this conference, it is also an excellent platform on which to base the in situ conservation of crow-wild relatives using the conservation infrastructures that are already available. One of the goals we set in the Farmers' Pride project was to assess the coverage of European priority crow-wild relative populations by Natura 2000. For this purpose, we downloaded occurrence data of populations of the 863 taxa that conform the inventory of European priority crow-wild relatives. We put all this data in a GIS environment and overlap the occurrences with the polygons of the sites of Natura 2000 to extract the European priority crow-wild relative populations that occur within these sites. We can state that these populations are under passive conservation because the protected area managers of these sites may not even be aware of their existence and are not actively conserving these populations. Detailed information about this study can be obtained in a document that is available in the resources linked to this presentation in the conference webpage. Also, in these resources, you can find the link to the videos of a webinar organized by Eurosite, where all this information is presented in detail. We can also aim to obtain information about crow-wild relative populations that may be actively conserved in Natura 2000 sites. This happens when one taxon of the European priority crow-wild relative inventory, like Allium scenoprasum, for instance, is at the same time a characteristic species of a habitat protected by the Habitats Directive. Protected area managers must actively conserve these habitats and indirectly those species that characterize the habitat. So we identify those taxa of the European priority crow-wild relative list that are characteristic species of a protected habitat and identify those habitats. Then we obtain the list of Natura 2000 sites that contain these habitats. So we can conclude that in these sites, active in situ conservation of crow-wild relatives is taking place. We turn all this information into a web tool to find European priority crow-wild relative populations in Natura 2000, which is hosted by ECPGR. The potential users of this tool will be protected area managers interested in the in situ conservation of crow-wild relatives in their sites. This tool has two main search functions. The species protected area function allows to discover which crow-wild relative taxa occur in named protected areas, whereas the species habitats function identifies which crow-wild relative are characteristic of European protected habitats and in which protected areas those habitats are found. I will now show you a video to let you know how the web tool works.
So we are going to test the web tool to find European priority crow-wild relative populations in the Natura 2000 network. The web tool provides in the first place an introduction and the instructions for using the tool. As I previously mentioned, the tool has two main search functions. If we start with the species protected area search, we can choose a crow-wild relative of the European priority list. For instance, let's say we are interested in Allium scenoprasum. And pressing the button search, we will obtain the list of protected areas arranged by country where this taxon can be found. By each protected area, we can check the number of populations that occur in this particular site. We can also click on the name of the taxon and obtain additional taxonomic information about the crop wild relative. Or click on the right-hand icon to obtain the related crop and the red list assessment of the taxon. This search can be narrowed down for a particular country or a specific protected area. For instance, we can see directly the number of populations occurring in the protected area of Aigües Tortes, which in this case is 3 populations. If we conduct the species habitat search, we once again can choose the crop wild relative of our interest. For instance, once again, Allium scenoprasum, and pressing the search button, we obtain in the first place the habitats of Annex 1 of the Habitats Directive, for which this taxon is a characteristic or a structural species. By pressing on the right-hand icon of each habitat, we will obtain the list of protected areas where this habitat is found. Once again, the search can be narrowed down by country. Or for a particular habitat. Finally, at the end of the page, there is an explanation about the data behind the tool, with links to the corresponding documents developed by the Farmers' Pride project. We hope that this tool may be of interest for protected area managers and public administration technicians interested in implementing active in situ conservation of crop wild relatives.
That's all, and thank you for your attention.